Okay, we're back for part 2. You're going to have to kind of excuse the wind noise today. It's really hot out today, so we have to have a lot of the fans on in here in the shop. But let's go ahead and tear into this engine and see what kind of problems we're going to have here. Alright, so unfortunately the audio ended up accidentally getting deleted for this clip, but I'm just showing you here where we had those broken bolts off in the case. We got lucky and was able just to remove one by unspinning it. But the other one, as you're about to see in these next clips, we're going to have to extract it the hard way. But first off, we need to go ahead and get the dowel pin removed, so that way we can get the case laid flat. We're going to be using a tool made by Motion Pro to remove these dowel pins. Not sponsored, just a favorite tool of ours. So on this other thread here, we're going to have to get those dowel pins removed so that way we can lay this side of the case flat and get it clamped down. We should be able to put some weld on that and get that extracted. So now I'm just going to throw some heat on here and see if I can get these dowel pins removed. It's really not that hard of a task. It's just sometimes they get really stuck in there and you do have to use heat, and they, obviously do come out a lot easier. So with those dowel pins removed, I'm able to clamp down the case to the fixture table, so that way we can go ahead and lay a bead of weld on that nut and see if we can extract that broken fastener. It's actually very helpful when you have the object clamped down, so that way it's not moving around on you while you're trying to work. It just makes things a lot easier. So as you can see, we had good success with welding a nut onto that and extracting that. It's definitely the way to go if you're able to do so. Okay, so for this radiator, we're going to go ahead and try to straighten this out. I don't know if you can tell from the camera, but it's a little bit tweaked. You can see up here a little bit. We'll try to pull those out. Let's see, I think you've already done a little bit of work on this spigot here. This was smashed in pretty good. So he's got that straightened out pretty good. And it looks like we've got a little bit of work to do here. We're going to try to heat this up and we'll see if we can pull this out. It's okay if we burn the paint because we're probably going to re-cerakote this anyways. And then we'll try to straighten some of these fins out.
We've also got this part here that's bent. We're going to have to try to hammer it, straighten it out. And these radiators are usually pretty forgiving when you hammer on them, so you can usually beat them pretty hard without causing any damage or destroying them. So
right.
If they're the OEM radiators, you're a lot better off to use those.
Right. So lucky for me, it's going to be him fixing this one and not me. He's got a lot more patience than I do. So off camera, we're going to see if we can get this fixed up, and then we'll cut back to you if we have any good news. All right. So what in the world do you have going on there?
Well, we've straightened out the radiator the best that we can. It was all bent up and pretty mashed in, and all the fins were pretty collapsed. So we've got it straightened out pretty good and got all the sides straightened back out from being bent and warped in. And so now we're going to, we put a hose and a block on here and capped it. We're going to put it in water and do some air pressure testing on it to make sure that before we go any further with it, stripping and recoating it, that we don't have any leaks or any problems with it that needs to be fixed before that. So let's go ahead and get that done.
Let's see if all of your time, effort, and energy was worth it. So we're just going to grab the air hose.
We've just got a rubber nozzle on the end, and we've got everything else blocked off.
Oh, and the regulator's set at what, 20 psi?
Yeah, 20 pounds, because that's more than what the radiator would have. You know,
normal system.
Exactly, and we're just going to pressure it up with air.
See what happens.
And
pressure?
Yep, and we see no bubbles or leaks, so that's a very good sign. And we'll repressure it again, just to make sure. Yeah, we see nothing, no bubbles or leaks or anything of such sort. Yes, sir. So I think we're good to go, and we're ready to strip it and recoat it the black color that we want. Okay, today we're going to deal with the problems that we've had with the frame having a broken bolt off in it. We're going to try to get that extracted, and we've already off camera knocked the races out of the frame to get it prepped for coating. So we're going to try to get this out now, and we've got some of the things laid out here that we're going to use. A drill bit, a tap, and a punch, hammer, and some lubrication for the drilling. So we're going to get started on that and see how this goes. So first of all, we're going to try to do our best to get the center line of this broken screw and try to make a mark so it would drill pretty straight into it. That's going to be the key thing to removing any broken bolt, is try to stay in the center of the bolt when you're getting ready to drill. Okay, we have a pretty good mark there now. I'm going to add some tap magic to it to keep our bit cool and lubricated, and see if we can get this drilled out. We're using a 7/64 drill bit today, along with a EX2 extractor. Yeah, that would help. We're going to try to probably drill as far as we can on it. You want to grab some air, Brett? I'll have you get the air too if you want to do that, or I can get it. It's up to you. You want me to grab it?
Go ahead.
Okay. Try to keep our shavings cleared so we can get a clean path of where we're going.
Never stays put.
Yeah. Never does it? Okay. It's all right. All right. We're back to the main task of drilling now. Thank goodness we have this fixture table where we can clamp everything down and make everything strong and in a fixed spot. It makes it a lot easier when you're working on something like this, when it's on a kind of a odd shaped project. So thank goodness for that.
You're through.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay, so we've drilled all the way through because it is a through hole instead of a stop, so thank goodness for that. We're going to try
Cross your fingers.
yeah, try to get this extracted, and if we can't easily, we're going to try to heat it up a little, I believe. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's even budging at all. So I think what we'll do is put a little heat to it and see if that helps us out in any way. Let me kind of blow some air around it and get kind of the oil out of the way.
Is it a good or a bad idea to leave the extractor in there while you heat it?
Probably a bad idea. Yeah. We don't care if we do damage to the paint or not, because it's going to the coaters anyway, so it doesn't matter if it destroys the paint on this part. This wouldn't be a good situation if say if you just got it painted. Yeah. Okay, looks like we got her pretty warm. And if this don't do us any good, then we're going to eventually end up having to...
Drill the next
Here we
one.
go.
Ooh, you got lucky.
Yep, it
Nice.
broke loose for us.
I
Thank
heard that
goodness.
snap.
Yep.
Good job.
So, and there's what we have left of the broken screw, and we have a pretty clean hole, but we'll run a tap through it and make sure that it's the correct size and the correct diameter and depth. So that's pretty much how you do it in an ideal situation. It doesn't always work out like that, but you always hope that it does.
Sometimes you just get lucky.
That's right.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get the shock disassembled, and then we're going to move on to the steering stem. We need to get these both disassembled because we're going to Cerakote these. So I've already sprayed some silicone all over the threads here, and I've already went ahead and loosened it up off camera. So let's go ahead and spin these spanners off. Okay. You're going to have to press that down to release that. Give me 1 second.
Okay, Brett.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. Okay, that's good. All right, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and put all the settings back to the softest settings, so that way when we take this apart we don't have any kind of preload or pressure on any of this. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get all the nitrogen released out of here, and then we'll get this shock taken apart. All right, we went ahead and loosened up this cap already. It was kind of being stubborn, so I didn't want to show that on camera. Let me actually get a socket. Let's tap this down. There we go. Then you can use a screwdriver if you don't have one of these. It's just a fancy race tech tool. Okay, carefully. There we go.
And when you do these, there's each side is different, so you want to make sure to keep
Right,
the sides
right.
separate.
These clips, yeah, they're different diameters, so you don't want to mix this clip up with the shaft clip. So next we'll thread this tool on. And I'll try to carefully, even though oil is probably going to splatter all over me, remove this. Just kind of rock it back and forth here.
Basically, we're moving
The bladder, correct. Okay, let me get a pan for this. Take my tool off. So that way you don't mix these up. It's a good idea. Just keep this circlip here with your bladder so you don't mix that up between this one. And now we'll drain the oil out of this. Just try to drain the most I can. All right, probably good enough. Next, we need to get the circlip out of here. So normally I would use a tool like this, but this one's too big for this shock. It actually sits too high up. If you look. No go. Since we're going to be replacing the entire seal head anyways, I'm just going to use a screwdriver to tap it down.
And we've exposed the circlip.
Yep. There we go. Careful not to bend it. Okay. Again, separate this out from the other one. Okay, so I'm going to stuff some paper towels in here. I'll kind of show you the trick to removing this too, so you don't splatter oil all over your stuff. So we're going to chuck it in a vise like this. And then I'll take just a soft hammer and we'll tap on this. After I move these out of the way. So just very, very lightly and carefully just tap this out. See it working out? Very lightly. Okay, we went ahead and threw a bunch of heat at this. Let's go ahead and put some pressure down on this and we'll see what it does. That's totally normal when it does that.
Where's the other? Well, it's right. Yeah,
They're right behind me. Okay. There you have it. Okay, we got the stem out, just a couple hits of the mallet's all it took, very light hits on this. The whole reason for this is because we're going to Cerakote these triple clamps, so it's a good way to also remove the stem and remove the lower bearing without damaging anything. This is also going to need replated anyway, so it's all good. We're going to go ahead and get these tires pulled off these rims so we can start disassembling everything. First thing to do, obviously, is remove the valve core. Now you can go around and break the bead. There we go. Okay, we're off on that side. On this side. Good there. Okay. Okay. We'll flip it over now and get the other side. Okay, push, there we go, and we're pressed down. There we go. All right, so off camera, we're gonna go ahead and get these wheels completely disassembled so that way we can start refinishing these. Probably gonna re-zinc plate these spokes and nipples and then possibly Cerakote the rims.